The CEO of Chicago-based McDonald's is out of a job tonight. CEO Steve Easterbrook admitted to a consensual relationship with an employee, a violation of McDonald's policy.
The fast food giant announced President Steve Easterbrook's departure, saying he demonstrated poor judgment. Easterbrook admitted to the relationship in an email to staff, calling it a mistake. Easterbrook is being replaced by the president of McDonald's USA, Chris Kempczinski.
Bill George, he's a senior fellow at Harvard Business School. And he says this is, quote, a tragedy for the company. Bill, those are, tragedy, I usually think of something really horrible, like a plane crash. Why do you put it at that level?
Well, first of all, Steve showed poor judgment doing this. The board is very strong. They did the right thing, David. But I feel that he has done a fantastic job for 3.5 years. This company was going straight downhill, going the route of Sears Roebuck, and he brought it back the last 3.5 years.
Right. Interesting. It's not the first and won't be the last time that we see this kind of behavior resulting in a forced exit. Boards are sort of, they have to do this, right? I mean, even though Mr. Easterbrook is divorced, not that and it's consensual relationship, obviously. It doesn't matter, I guess, when you're the CEO at this point in the world we live in right now. If you have a relationship with an employee, you've got to leave.
That's right, David. And he personally was involved in rewriting the code of conduct. So can you enforce it for his subordinates? Can you enforce it to all the employees and not enforce it for the CEO? So this board had no choice. It's a good board, and so they did the right thing. Frankly, they did the right thing 3.5 years ago in removing Don Thompson and replacing him with Steve and allowing him to bring in a much stronger team than they had before. So this is not the old guard. This is the new guard. So, yeah, I think boards have no chance today. It's very much like Brian Kranich at Intel, who's doing a great job out there and had to be replaced for the same reason. So. Just a good lesson to anyone. If a CEO, we tell people at Harvard, David, you're a public figure, and your behavior must be above reproach because you have to set the standard for the whole company.
In terms of the process of how this whole thing went down, it sounds like they received a tip that this consensual relationship was going on. The board had an investigation. They took action and then disclosed it appropriately.
Moving on to the next one of the heads of the world's biggest burger chain has been canned.
They showed him the door. Steve Easterbrook is who we're talking about here. Had an inappropriate relationship with another employee at the company. McDonald's said he was terminated after he violated the company policy and demonstrated poor judgment involving what they called a consensual relationship. In an email to employees, Easterbrook, who is divorced, acknowledged the relationship and said it was a mistake. We're getting a look now at his compensation. It'll be $675,000 before benefits. He could as well receive a prorated bonus. He has $21 million already in company stock that he holds. He is unable to work in any of McDonald's competitors for 2 years. It's a blow to the company, Adrian, because they had a strong growth under his leadership, reinventing themselves in many ways. So investors weren't happy to see. Absolutely. Stock was down today because investors were worried about what might happen going forward.
Interesting. Now, moving to the next one, this has got to be a head scratcher. If you wonder what some higher ups in these companies are thinking.
Well, there are some changes this morning for the world's largest fast food restaurant. We're talking about McDonald's. Its CEO has been forced out due to having a relationship with an employee. Let's bring in Scott Peterson right now, who's looking into the story for us today. Interesting because the alerts went out late last night on this one. Are we hearing any details about this sudden departure at all?
Well, we're hearing it's not really up to the CEO to make this kind of call. And the board of directors of McDonald's voted over the weekend to have the ouster of Steve Easterbrook, who's been the CEO of the company since 2015, due to a relationship that he had with a fellow employee. And McDonald's rules forbid any kind of personal romantic relationship with any other employee. So clearly breaking a rule there for McDonald's. So the CEO, Steve Easterbrook, you can see him right there, sent this email to employees, said that the relationship was a mistake, that given the values of the company, that I agree with the board that it's time for me to move on. Now, it's kind of hard to disagree with the board when they vote you out, but that's the statement there. And Steve Easterbrook was responsible for a lot of modernization coming to the website, for example, and getting an app ready for a younger generation. And the details of the severance package are going to be announced this morning, so we're waiting on that. But like I said, he's been CEO since 2015, and he made close to $16 million in compensation just last year, Michael.
Okay, and not great news for McDonald's because they already were dealing with one controversy having to do with its app and hacks to that app, something that's been called the Hamburglar.
Yeah, this so-called Hamburglar, this is what, apps that people sign up for, whether it's for Uber or for Starbucks. There's an app, you can pre-order food and you go to pick it up. But with that app, you've got background financial information on that as well. And it seems that CBC has received about 20 different complaints since February that someone's gone in and hacked into their account buying food without their authorization. For example, a Torontonian had about $2,000 worth of charges in Montreal. A resident in Peterborough had $35 worth of McNuggets put onto her account in Toronto when she wasn't there at all. So McDonald's is responding to this to CBC, saying exactly this, that while we're aware that some isolated incidents involving unauthorized transactions have occurred, we remain confident in the security of our app. And so anybody that is getting these charges, unfortunately, is being redirected by McDonald's back to the bank to make sure that their accounts there haven't been compromised. But this Hamburglar app, so-called, Michael, you got to watch out for those McNuggets out there.
Okay.